There is an argument to be had whether making organic surface or just organic sculptures, humanoids, or just organic life form, right? Making it this way, the way we've been discussing so far, and again, this is based on Carlos Fuente, and well, let's even just point Michelangelo, whether making the muscles, the anatomy, the surface to read this way is just a personal preference, just like, for example, a model like that, whether the execution of the muscles, the way it's done here, whether that also is a matter of just personal preference, right? It's not a matter of just anatomy knowledge, it's just the way we would like to make our models. And I would say that it's a wrong argument to have. I would still say that what we see here is the right way of approaching organic surfaces or just humanoids and organic sculpting, right? When we make bodies, when we make some kind of creatures, whatever. And the reason why I think it's the reason why I think this is the case is well, it's just observation, and which is not much, right? You can say, well, that's not good enough, but it is observation. It's understanding that things tend to go in the opposite direction, right? That sometimes when we get to see an ideal of something, the tendency is to make copies of that, and when we make copies of that, we tend to wash away the perfection. We get to forget what the perfection was about, like what makes it perfect, right? And we select certain things, and we somehow decide that those things are more important than the overall image or the overall subject that was. So allow me just to illustrate this a little bit better. If we look at the history of bodybuilding, and there's an interesting, well, the article itself, I haven't read it. I will be honest with you. I haven't read the article, but I saw the images, and those images, they were doing pretty much what I thought they would be doing, right? The progression in my head, the progression was this, and then I just searched for modern bodybuilding, right? And this is the article I got to see. And when I first saw this, I thought this was Photoshop, but I don't think it's Photoshop. I think it's real. But anyway, let's just look at the progression of things, right? So this is old. We see the muscles, we see the forms, the way we have been discussing it. Well, they look the same way as we pointed out during the class. As we go farther in time, we get to see just more refinement, right? Things changed, the nutrition changed, the exercises changed, the understanding of things changed. That's fine, all good. We get to see Arnold, who had the perfect body, quote unquote, right? He won multiple Mr. Universe or Mr. Olympia. Yeah, I think that was the competition, and he won that not because of the bulk of his muscles, right? It wasn't because he had bigger muscles than what people used to have, or not because he had more muscle than the other guys. What Arnold did and what Arnold knew is the harmony of form, right? It wasn't just that the deltoids were sticking out so much, and the legs were just as wide as they can be. It wasn't that. It was the well, obviously the definition of the muscles, right? The way we can see every single fiber in here. But it was the consistency of things. It was the harmony of things. And so when he showed himself, right, that changed something, that changed the industry, that changed the way people saw human body as, right, like what made human body perfect. And that's when the kind of break started to happen, because it feels like, to me at least, when I look at it, when I observe it, it feels like people just didn't get exactly what made Arnold Mr. Olympia for so many times, right? And so what we see as a progress, or as the I guess as the result of that, is that we get to see the increase of musculature. So this is still relatively fine, right? Good. This is good, I guess. But we get to see the progress as we move forward. We get to see that bodies just become bigger in general, right? The muscles become bigger. This is no longer about the form. This is no longer about the harmony. Here, things just look massive, right? We get to see every single fiber. That's fine. But now the competition is no longer about beauty. The competition is about mass and about the size, right? And so as we move down and we go further in time, this is what we get to see. So the proportions are just becoming, at this point, almost ridiculous, right? Like a caricature of a human body, right? Like a very stylized image of a superhero. And as we move forward, we get into a place where things just become nasty. This is, like I said, this is no longer about beauty at all, because nothing about what we see here is beautiful. If anything, this just looks disturbing, right? When I see that, I can tell that this is not a human body. The human body shouldn't be this. I mean, we shouldn't see that much crazy stuff, right? Like the skin is almost about to break in here. The amount of veins, the amount of just all the things that shouldn't be here, right? We just get to see the insane amount of mass, right? And we go forward, and this is becoming just silly, right? At this point, this is just silly. This is just a sphere. It's not a shoulder, it's a sphere that's being integrated poorly into the arm. It just looks weird, right? And we get moving forward, and we get to see those are not even people anymore. This is something else. And I guess the pinnacle of that, the kind of where it all came down to, this whole fashion about bodies, is this whole phenomena with If you enjoy this content or find it useful, please consider supporting me by buying me a cup of coffee via the link in the description. With Synthol, right? I still don't want to believe that this is real, but it is real. I mean, I don't want to believe it because it's just so sad to see that, right? So those are not muscles. Those are just, Synthol is being, I don't even know what to call that. Definitely not integrated, but injected into a human body, and this is what we get to see. And it seems to me, I haven't really dealt with this subject. I remember the first time I saw something like this was, I don't know, 10 years ago, and like I said, I just couldn't believe that was real. I thought it was some Photoshop images, but it is a real thing. So yeah, it's really sad. Like I can't really talk normally when I see that, because this is just too sad when I see something like that. So those are not muscles. This is just a disaster, right? People think that what makes them beautiful, or what makes them, in this case, male body beautiful, is the bulk, right? It's the amount, the size of the muscles. It's not the integration, it's not the form, it's not the harmony, it's the bulk, right? It's the bigger, the better. Here, the same kind of problem. And if we just move again in reverse, if we go and look back, this is what it used to be like, right? This is without any steroids. This is just a pure mechanical way of achieving perfection of a body, right? Getting it to the state where you cannot push it any longer. This is what we get. We get to see the shoulders. Yes, definitely they stick out, of course, but they are integrated into body, right? With everything else, we see the smooth silhouette, we see the harmony in here. And like I said, Arnold just pushed it one more step forward, and he was using steroid as far as I know. I remember hearing him say about these things, because they were legal back then, right, when he was doing bodybuilding. But if we look at well, it's here, it says old and modern, right? This is kind of modern bodybuilding, and this is old bodybuilding. If we look again, just comparing what Arnold saw and what we what people seem to be not seeing today, it's the harmony. Look at his legs. His legs are not wide, right? They're defined for sure, but they're not wide. They're not doing that, right? They're not flaring out this way. Look at the way the muscles, the side muscles in here, integrate with everything else, integrate with the waist. We don't get to see this break, this crazy break, and then another break, because the muscles are just becoming inflated, right? Look at the way the shoulders are being integrated and being just connected with everything else. They are massive, right? He's a massive guy, but it looks so much better than what we see here. Here we see the shoulders, but then instead of a arm, like a bicep, we see a bicep, and then there's another bicep on the other side. Like there's something wrong with this, right? So the same on the trapezius or trapezium. I don't remember how to pronounce that, but the muscles behind the neck, right? Even though Arnold doesn't have nowhere near as big of those muscles, maybe because he's not flexing in here, right? He's clearly flexing. He's moving his shoulders forward, and so we get to see more of that. So Arnold will probably be able to show more of his trapezius, but the silhouette in here is just so much better, right? It's just so much more elegant. Everything here just works so well. Like this is the perfect body. Well, it's not, because it's still artificial, right? Because he was using steroids. The perfect human body is that, somewhat like this, right? But still, this is very, very good. This is still looking very beautiful. And then we get to that, right? And it's just a disaster. And so when I see models, perhaps like those ones, this is not style. This is not a whim. Let's put it this way: you cannot just make something like that and then say that this is looking beautiful just because you wanted to do it this way. It just doesn't work this way. It simply doesn't. So in my opinion, the organic surface will naturally, if we want it to make look beautiful, it will naturally fall into this kind of category, where things blend so much smoother into each other, right? We won't see those kind of spheres for the muscles. We will get a slender looking silhouettes, slender looking muscles. We would still see all the striations, right? We would still see all the fibers, and even something like that when the character or the creature is looking extremely massive, extremely powerful, we still don't get to see all the crazy things that we saw in that article, right? And on those pictures, on those modern bodybuilders, and especially those Synthol guys, right? Here, things are just so much more integrated. Even the pecs here, they are relatively weak, right? For something like that, for this guy, we would imagine he would have huge pecs, right? The arms are big, so we would imagine those things would be big as well. But even if they're not big, just the way they're integrated, they make him look like he's just unstoppable. There's just raw power in here. So it has the power, the beauty of things, right? The way the muscles look, the way we see the surface, the way we feel the harmony and yes, beauty has nothing to do with the size. It's something else, right? And that something else is exactly what Carlos is doing. That's exactly what Michelangelo was doing. Even though his some of his paintings, the chapel, for example, the humans on that painting, they look huge, right? If you see that picture, well, if you see that painting, just go see it. Let's put it this way: if just go see it first, and then we can discuss it. But still, I'm gonna just say a couple of words here. People on that painting look massive. They are extremely big, but they don't feel like that, right? They don't feel nasty. They just look muscular. They have pronounced musculature, but that's about it. That's nothing. There's nothing going on more than just that. So that's something that I wanted to talk about. Whether the execution of the models in such a way, whether this is a personal preference, and whether this still has the right to be called beautiful. And I would argue that it doesn't. And I really don't want things to be washed out and go in this direction where we lose sight of perfection, right? We will lose the things that make something beautiful and perfect, and we just exaggerate things. We just pick something and we begin to exaggerate, and then we say, well, this is how I see it, this is what I want to do. I would just say, no, we need to look deeper, right? We need to understand what makes something perfect. What was it about that made it stand out so much? And instead of just exaggerating things, instead of making things bigger, instead of making things just kind of cheaper, right? So that's just a little conversation about this subject, and why I believe that if you want to get a good reference for whatever it is that you're doing, why Carlos Huente is today's master, and if you want to go back in time, why Michelangelo is the ultimate genius when it comes to human sculpture and human representation.